Fala galera, eu conversei com a vocalista Sharon da Adel em agosto para falar sobre o atual momento do Within Temptation, uma das grandes bandas que temos no metal sinfônico na atualidade. A gente abordou a recente volta deles aos palcos, o lançamento de músicas inéditas como Shed My Skin, The Purge, Entertain You e a composição de um novo álbum. Além de outros assuntos, é claro, incluindo uma espécie de volta ao tempo para falar sobre os 25 anos de fundação do Within Temptation. Se liga só.
Congratulations on returning to the stage. Finally, this pandemic allowed that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but before this show you guys did on July 29th, you guys haven't done a full concert with audience, no streaming, since September 2019. So it's almost 2 years without performing live in the traditional way. How was this experience returning to the stage in this post-pandemic world?
Well, we did a show actually. Of course, we have done, of course, the Aftermath, which is not with real audience, of course. But we did a show last week actually in Finland for the first time in 2 years, and that was like mind blowing because it's such a difference from being at home and playing in front of a camera, you know, with all of these guys, which we did only once or twice. But then the Aftermath was also really nice, but without audience again. And you need that live vibe to feel alive on stage as well, you know, to get that energy. It's an interaction that you need. So that's the best thing there is. And I'm just really happy that we're getting a little bit closer to normal life again.
Cool. And in this concert in Finland, you had the opportunity to perform 2 new songs, Entertain You and The Purge. How the fans reacted to these songs being performed live?
Really well, really, but also so I think that not everybody knew the songs because it's a very, of course, a festival. There's people that come especially for you and that come for other bands as well. So a part of them didn't know it yet, and a part that did know, you could really pick out where the fans are. Oh yeah, that group. Oh yeah, they don't. So I think we've surprised some people playing some new songs that they didn't know yet, and the really diehards, of course, knew all the songs, also the new ones, and they responded really well. It's really something they can groove to. So I think it's something that people will like.
Cool. And this concert didn't have Shed My Skin, which is your most recent single recorded with Annie Zolke. Don't you intend to include this track in your set list?
Yes, we were, but we didn't have the video footage of Christoph or Rudy. On something went wrong with the video, so we felt like, okay, it's a bit strange, you know, me singing live and then hearing them from a, you know, you need to have the imagery added, otherwise it doesn't come across. So we felt like just leaving this song out for the moment. But when we're gonna play again, we're probably having all the video footage in the correct way, and then we can play the song live. That would be lovely.
Cool. And talking specifically about this song, I read a press release where you say that this track is about dealing with inevitable changes in life. And you also said that real growth begins where comfort zones end. Sure, this can be understood for both the personal and the professional side, professional life. And talking about the professional life, I see that Within Temptation is always working to get out of this comfort zone. I'd like to know your opinion about this, and how are you seeking to get out of this comfort zone with the band right now?
Well, you know, trying new things like the Aftermath and trying new crossovers, that's for us leaving our comfort zones, because you never know how people will react to it. But I think it's for us really like trying to please our own ears first, you know, and our own hearts musically. And then we can make everybody else happy. You need to be happy first about what you're making. And this is who we are. We are people that shed their skin a lot of times with every album, more or less a bit. So, and it is who we are. We couldn't even write the same album if we wanted to. It's not, we don't have that ability. We can't. We're not that talented enough to write the same thing and make it sound new again. So we need to do a lot of changes to make it interesting for ourselves and to come up with a new album. So
cool. Well, and Shed My Skin seems to be a very challenging song to sing. For someone like me who doesn't know anything about singing, it seems to be one of your most technical performances ever. Am I right about that? What can you say about it?
Yeah, it shows a lot of registers on my vocal cords. It's like going very high to very low. So it's like, yeah, and it's challenging for me. So that's also the reason why I also like to perform it live. So I was really disappointed that I couldn't play it in Finland. And but it is a difficult song. Yes, most definitely. Vocally, it's not the easiest song for people to sing along to. Or they will be up there, or they will be low down there, singing the low part. So yeah.
And are there any other Within Temptation songs that you find challenging to perform live?
Some, yeah, although I'm thinking of which song I might find difficult. Well, In the Middle of the Night is sometimes difficult when I have vocal problems, because it's such a, I have to sing it with so much force. It's a very masculine kind of vocal line in a way. And so that's a song that if I have vocal problems, I can't sing it live. So I really need to be in real tip-top shape to be able to sing that song.
Cool. And you guys have been releasing singles lately, but I heard in an interview, and I think you mentioned before that you plan to release an album later this year, I guess. Can you share some details about this album?
Yes, well, the thing is, what we did is, like you said, we have left behind the traditional way of releasing an album, like writing an album first and then releasing singles after that. And what we're gonna do is we still need to write a lot of songs now to finish that album, and hopefully it will be done at the end of next year. So looking forward to that. But it's we don't have a particular date, so we hope to release it at the end of next year.
Cool. And musically wise, what will be the idea of this album? I know you have to write the songs before, but do you think it will sound like a natural evolution of the Resist album, or do you want to explore other things?
Well, that's something, there's already a little bit of red line between the songs that we have released, but there's another song coming up, which is very different, that goes back more to the Unforgiving era, to my opinion. So I think it's very difficult for me to say, because as we are writing in the moment, it's really like letting go of, does this fit on the album? I don't know. But we love the song, so we're gonna release it. So it's so it's something that I really don't know yet. So I do like what we've done so far with the first 3 songs, and this 4th song that's coming up eventually this year is going to be a bit different, but we haven't completely recorded it for live, for the real release yet. It's just a demo, so maybe things change a little bit still, that it will come a bit close to the other 3. But yeah, if I look at it now as a demo, it's really going back a little bit to the Unforgiving.
Cool. And the singles released so far will be on the album?
They will all be on the album, yes, most definitely, because we do think it represents what we stand for right now. It's just that we want to give, we wanted to try something different, and I think eventually it even worked for us even better because of the fact of the pandemic, that we could give something and to look forward to ourselves, but also for the fans to look forward to in this time of silence, more or less.
Yeah, I mentioned before that I watched some of your recent interview to think about my questions, and I must say that you have a lot of fans, not only of your music, but also of your interviews. People love watching your interviews. Yeah, they like your answers, they like the way you communicate. And we can see that on the comment areas. Now I want to hear from you. Do you usually follow the comments on the social medias about you and about the band?
Sometimes when I'm really curious, especially with new song, I'm really curious. But sometimes I find people on the internet very direct and very, I think we have to still to learn a lot about how we reflect our emotions on the internet, how people can be so direct and heavy about and judgmental about things and make up their own conclusions. They have a lot of compliments, and it don't always have to, I read as much, I write, if people have comments, I like to hear the bad things and the good things. I don't mind if people have, comments about things they don't like, but I think respect is something that should be always there. And I think you know, not just for me, I think it's in general with how people react to things on the internet. So I'm not really a fan, because it really hurts me when I read something that I really feel is unjustified. But I do see a lot of other people also correcting this kind of person at a certain point as well. So it's that always balances itself out, I guess, in a way. But it does feel difficult sometimes to read these kind of things.
You mentioned that you sometimes you read the comments, and especially when you release new albums, new singles. Talking about the 3 recent singles, did you have any comment that you read and that you read and you thought, whoa, I haven't thought about that? Some thoughts that some fans had about these specific 3 new singles?
Not specifically about these 3 singles. But I did read sometimes people that had the idea, like people are trying to figure out what a storyline is about, and then they come up with amazing, better stories that we eventually like, oh, I'm going to take that into the room because we thought of that as well. No, we didn't. So it's funny. So sometimes you get better ideas from fans coming up with amazing, brilliant ideas. Like, oh, I didn't think of that. Would have been even better, you know, if we had thought of that. But so I like, that's something really positive. Yes, I do read sometimes those kind of things, but I'm not for these 3 songs, but it was something else for, I don't know, something we did in the past, and it's like, oh yeah.
And talking about fans, you have a lot of fans here in Brazil, but it's been a while since you guys performed here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you came here in 2008, 2012, and 2014, I guess. Are there any plans to come back to Brazil in South America?
Yes, we are, but you know, a lot of things has changed, of course, at the moment that we really have to catch up with all the postponed tours that we didn't do yet. So hopefully after that, there will be some more space to go to the country we haven't been to for such a long time.
Yeah, and from these 3 times you came to Brazil, do you have any special memory of the concerts, the people, the country?
Well, what I think is typically for your country, which has that Mediterranean vibe still, I think, is you're also passionate for music, and that's something, you know, other countries can still, you know, maybe if they would see this, they would enjoy that so much more than going to certain countries where people are more like, okay, show me what you got, and then just watching in front of the stage, and then it's like, you know, I like it when people go, they're here. So that's more passionate to me. It's like, okay, you give so much love before you have played even one note, you know, and that really warms our hearts. Like, okay, that's really why it's a pleasure to play in a country like yours.
Cool. And talking about memories, next year, Within Temptation's first album, Answer, completes 25 years of release.
My God, I'm that old. I'm that old. Time flies. It goes too fast.
Yeah. How do you see the Answer record these days?
I still love the album. I have still a lot of nostalgia for it, and it's crazy that time has gone by so fast. And yeah, it brings always a lot of memories, good memories. Yeah, and the first time you do something, first records, first recording, first video, first you know, band arguments, first everything, you know. So it's like I can remember everything so crystal clear still, so it doesn't feel that long ago. Yeah, and we are a band that always wants to look forward, not back to what we've done. So it's but when I do look back, I do it with a lot of love and nostalgia.
Cool. And talking about those times, I read that you worked for a fashion company before Within Temptation became famous, and Robert also worked in other job outside from music before everything happened. This is the situation of many young rock and heavy metal artists and bands who have you as their inspiration and who try to make a living from music. What advice would you give to these musicians who want a place in the sun?
Well, always there's a few things which I think which can make it possible to become, you know, like a full-time musician. And the first one is to have a plan B, so you'll be comfortable with whatever you're going to try, and you don't make decisions like you can go for the music you love yourself. So that's first one. Have a plan B, have something that will put the bread on the table. It's not very romantic, but it is, you know, reality. So that's one thing. Have an education. So the second thing is do something you believe in, but it's also something new. You know, people are not waiting for another band that sounds like U2 or like Black Sabbath, or, you know, any band that's already out there and has been successful. You need to do something that makes you to stand out. So that's important. And you need to love what you do, and the combination eventually, you know, that's the best thing, I think. But the most important thing, have a plan B, because sometimes, you know, it's not in the stars sometimes. So, but if you really think you can bring something new to the table and you really believe in it, go for it.
Okay, and for our last minutes, please leave a message for the fans in Brazil.
Well, lovely Brazilian fans, I'm really happy to be here on this interview and connecting to you as a country and as people. I've been missing you because I love your passion for music, and I really hope you're doing well. Stay safe, stay strong. I know your country has a lot of difficulties on different levels, and I hope we'll see each other one day again in a better situation, better circumstances.